So there I was, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I'm on a surfboard, looking fabulous in my wetsuit, of course. I'm on a bright green and rather large beginner's board. And the sun is coming down, and the waves are coming in, the tide is coming in closer and closer, and I hear from a distance, "Turtle! Turtle!" And the surfers are all yelling at me. And I'm thinking, this is so great. I'm gonna see a turtle. That's not what happened. The waves came very close, and they hit me, and I went top over tail, over and over again, until I was in the washing machine. The wipeout was spectacular. And then I remembered what my friend who told me I didn't need lessons reminded me. When you wipe out, what do? When you wipe out, you just relax, like this, and you smile. And you'll find the surface much more fast, much more quickly. You'll find that surface of the water. That's not what happened. I'm under the water. I think my nose is bleeding. There's sand in my eyes. There's salt water burning my lungs. And for anyone who's ever surfed, you know Mother Nature is most definitely in charge. So I'm under the water, grasping, I think I'm gonna die. I might die here. Finally, I get to the surface of the water, spittering and sputtering. There's hair in my hair, salt water burning my eyes and lungs. I pull myself up on my large green board, which is tethered to my right ankle and pulling me down. Finally, I pull myself up, and I swim as fast as I can into water that's just below my hips. I pull my green board up under the arm, my right arm, and I start going toward the shore with some dignity. Darn it, I'm Heather Kennedy. Kennedys don't give up. And of course, I'm going to be in the shore soon, right? That's not what happened. I can see people on the shore doing this too, and they don't have Parkinson's, they're shaking. These kids who look like Laird Hamilton and Kelly Slater are laughing at this old lady rolling around the surf because the surf hits me again. I'm only in water up to here. And the surf hits me again, and I go tumbling backwards, feet in the air. This is a great way to get dates, too. I'll explain more about that later. Awkward, great way to get dates. So I finally get up on my hands and knees, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is just crazy. You know, New Yorkers don't surf. I'm in California at the Hook in Santa Cruz. We don't surf. We're New Yorkers, you know? So anyway, I get up again, and now I'm in water that's about up to the middle of my shin. And because I'm in water in the middle of my shin, I'm feeling confident. Tuck the board under, brush myself off. I'm gonna go talk to these kids that are now laughing at me, and I'm gonna get some tips, and after lunch, I'm gonna go back out. I'm gonna be great. That's not what happened. Down into the sand I go face first for a third time. And I realize that as this wave comes up under you and pushes you over, how true this is to life. So I crawl up on shore and unwind. And a kid comes over, this beautiful, tall, majestic-looking young man. And he looks down and he says, "Lady, you can't go in the big waves without some instruction and some lessons. You can't just go in the big waves." And I look up, and there's my friend who told me I didn't need lessons. And he looks down and he says, "Yeah, you should really take a lesson." And I'm thinking, isn't this life? Nature is most definitely in charge. Parkinson's is taking over in spite or despite anything we do. And this is where we find ourselves. And by the way, when someone screams turtle at you, there's not a turtle. They're talking about ducking under the wave like this with your board. So that the wave doesn't smack you in the face. And I found a few things that work for me that I want to share with you today. I'm Heather Kennedy. I write for Kathleen Kiddo. It's an awareness site for Parkinson's. And this site that I run started from a place of great despair. I was so sad. I sent out my message in a bottle, and I never imagined so many messages would come back out of the shore. I couldn't imagine so many people were suffering in exactly the same way that I was suffering. So I'm here to remind you of a few things today. We're going to talk about this, because you're not alone. This is an awful condition we share, but you're not alone. So, I really need progressives, by the way, someone keep tweets. I can't see up close, I can't see far away, what a ripoff. I thought getting old I'd be retired, and I'm gonna go travel. That's not what happened either. So, It's really too much some days. And I was thinking about this, I read a lot, and there's a great writer called Murakami, he said, and once the storm is over, you won't remember, though, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure that the storm is really over. But one thing is for certain, when you come through or out of that storm, you won't be the same person you walked in. Sit with that for a moment because there's some positives to this. We are being tested. Welcome to Jedi training for Parkinson's. So, this cooking demonstration, we have Barbara Rink here, we have Diane, we have Sandra. We're so lucky to be here today, and I'm grateful to speak on behalf of this Atlantic Health and Overlook. Thank you. If you're a care partner or a friend or someone who knows someone with Parkinson's, I'm guessing this isn't what you had planned. To be spending your Saturdays talking about a neurodegenerative disease. Not only a disease that's neurodegenerative, but it's progressive. No matter what we do, it's progressive. I don't know about you, but I work out like an animal. And I can see the mountain at my gate. I can see what's coming. And I'm ready, and here's how I'm ready. So, I was thinking about all the things that drive us mad. And Charles Bukowski, the late great poet and crazy person, wrote something called The Shoelace. And in The Shoelace he says, it's not the large things that send us to the madhouse. Death we're ready for, murder, incest, robbery, fire, flood. No, it's the continuing series of small tragedies that send us to the madhouse. It's not the death of our love. It's not anything but the shoelace. It snaps with no time left. The dread of life is a swarm of trivialities that can kill quicker than cancer and which are always there. So let's see if I can, oh, there we go. And so grief is always with us. This grief, this tremendous grief we share, because there's always loss. And every great spiritual teacher and every great teacher, in fact, has talked about this loss. We must lose everything, including our identification with our own body, eventually. So, on that cheerful note, there will always be a storm while we're alive. Life is chaos. Life is chaos. So, I had to roll out of bed this morning, and I worked the Becky Farley method, and I worked with John Argue, and this lovely woman, Carol Fisher, taught me how to get out of bed. And I'm going to do a demonstration real quick. This demonstration has absolutely no dignity, so you don't need to record this part. I won't look like Cindy Crawford in this part at all. Okay? So here's how we get out of bed in boot camp. This is how we teach people how to get out of bed. You're lying there, you've had a great night's sleep too, because, you've got it all together. You have Parkinson's, right? Okay. Tim Conway. He's one of my heroes. Harvey Korman tried so hard not to laugh with the slow fall down the stairs, and Harvey was always laughing, right? Because this is life, though. I can't even get out of bed. I showed up the other night to a concert I was supposed to be singing in with my shoes untied, and I said to the manager, I can't tie my shoes. He said, Kennedy, I don't have a lot of confidence you're going to be able to run this concert very well. I have a lot of confidence in you at all. I said, just tie my shoes. You keep quiet. Give me the money. So anyway, I decided it would be a really good idea this morning, because I was having trouble getting out of bed, to take my Cinnamon before I got out of bed. And I don't know if any of you have ever used different medications and put them in the same box while you're traveling. Turns out trazodone and Cinnamon are exactly the same size, shape, and form. One is an ever so slight yellow color, and good luck with eyesight, seeing the difference between the palest shade of nude yellow and white. So I woke up this morning to the trazodone. Not a Cinnamon, the gold standard we've all been using for many years to help us move. So Cinnamon helps you move and get ready. Trazodone puts you to sleep and slows you down. I've had 7 pots of coffee. It's very nice to meet you. Now my greatest fear is urination. So on the flight on the way here, what do? I get a large glass of water, actually 2, because I was very thirsty, medications. And I proceed to spill them both in my lap. The man next to me, who hadn't seen this happen, he keeps looking over and said, did you pee your pants? And I said, no, but funny you should mention, because I had a date the other night. And this went really well, my date. So, I'll get back to that. I was getting ready for this event. And what do you do when you need to get ready for something big and you have Parkinson's? You plan ahead, and you have to overcompensate. No. I researched the secret life of jumping spiders in dewdrop hats. Then I did a map of the Middle Eastern conflict, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, throughout time, a detailed map, and then I got shirts for everyone. Because that's what you do when you're going to prepare. Brain fog is part of this. If you think you're being squirrely, oh, you're not alone. It's Parkinson's. At least we can blame it on that, right? So this is what we do when we're supposed to be concentrating on something big. And by the way, I found this little tidbit that I think you'd really enjoy. Did you know jumping spiders have 8 eyes? And that just by changing their blood flow, they can jump up to 6 inches without any special musculature in their legs, even though they're only 0.5 millimeter large? Isn't that cool? I thought that was so great. I thought, you really need to know that. You're going to thank me when you win that picture of beer and trivia. So, we're all going to end up being the coral lipstick lady. Now, if you don't know the coral lipstick lady, you never went to Catholic church or something. During the part where the blood of Christ, the body of Christ, there's a chalice. And back in the olden days, we used to share this chalice. And the choir boys and the people, they'd wipe off the chalice and then hand it to you. And I always got stuck next to the coral lipstick lady, and the kid didn't have a little wipey thing, so of course he's passing, and it's the blood of Christ, you're supposed to be taking this. And the coral lipstick lady was the same lady who smelled like mothballs and always left a coral stain here because she wanted to kiss you. And she'd always lean in and say, what do you want to do with your life, Heather? What are you going to be when you grow up? I'm looking at my mom, I don't know, I still don't know. Does anybody know what they want to do when they grow up? Are you guys, with great certainty, are you sure you know what you want to do? So I'd go, ballerina, veterinarian, teacher, firefighter. And I'm guessing that when someone asked you that question, you didn't answer a person with Parkinson's. And yet this is your biggest job now. This is the job that takes up the most of your time and energies. So here we are. We've got to give it back to Parkinson's. When they said that I had Parkinson's, I didn't believe them. But I threw a party nonetheless, because in that roulette wheel, it could have been much worse. There's always something worse. This human condition we all share is rife with samsara. This cycle of human suffering is ongoing. So we do have to learn how to do this. Because what else are we going to do besides be broken open? My late night Googling, I also got this shirt. It's just great. It's my favorite. So I felt like I was a winner with Parkinson's in many ways, and we learn the most from each other. So I'm going to implore you, since this isn't what you planned, I'm going to implore you to stay connected, because nothing is what we planned. Nothing. Everything is going to go wrong. Let's see. I have a few more stories I think you might enjoy, but first I also want to talk about something else. Muhammad Ali. We have something that we do in Parkinson's. We call it fighting. We are warriors. We're going to fight this. And when someone dies, they died, we say they lost their battle. Is that so? Does that imply somehow that we are weaker? And if Muhammad Ali, arguably the greatest fighter that ever lived, was taken down by the effects of Parkinson's, who are we to think that we aren't all heading that direction? Let us be humble in this pursuit and continue on. We've got this, though. A few more things that you're going to like. So, first we want to talk, so yes, it's definitely not what I planned. I've spilled 3 things today. I'm so sorry. So these are the pills that I take to be able to be mobile to meet you here. The pills come with some notable side effects. Has anyone ever heard the word Mirapex? You know, there are a lot of them. There are a lot of different name brands for these agonists. And we know that they come with impulsive behaviors, compulsivity. It is so important we have mental health. We just had a plethora of fellow advocates descend upon Washington and ask them to attach the mental health bill and allocate it and give us those allocations. Not just push it through, but actually give us allocations so that mental health can be a part of Parkinson's. Depression, anxiety, and sleepiness comes with this. This is my brother. He's 6'5". People notice when he's in the middle of the park sleeping. I fell asleep in therapy the other day talking about myself, so I'm telling you, we have a problem with fatigue. We're all pretty exhausted. And these are the gory details. You know, speaking of fighting too, there are historians that have noted in the Battle of Agincourt, the reason that 36,000 French troops lost to 6,000 Brits was not because the Brits were better fighters, but because these French men in the 15th century were covered with the heaviest armor, trudging through muddy plantations and weeds and muddy moats in this huge amount of armor. That's what we're doing. They went half the speed as their adversaries, and even though they had the home court advantage, and even though they had 36,000 to the 6,000, they lost that battle. So my point is, you have these things holding you back. You might feel like your legs are cemented. You might feel like you're under a wool blanket walking through water. Your job is to work with that and communicate it. We must find ways to communicate with one another. So I'm going to go all the way ahead here to communicating. You know what? Actually, before we communicate, can I do a little something? Because that armor is making me feel very, very stiff. Can we do something? Let's open it. I would like everybody, even if you can't stand up, to make sure that there's an arm's length between you and the person next to you. Can we get a space for that? If you can't stand up, or you feel like standing up, how about that? Please do. And if you need to hold on to something, I recommend not your buddy, but a chair. Unless your buddy really wants to be touched on the shoulder, touch is good. So when everybody just stand up, we're going to do a little exercise together, because I really need this. Talking about armor, you know? This armor's tough. I feel like I'm in that wool blanket all the time, underwater, watching all my friends have fun. I want you to put your arms out, and I want you to do something for me. We're gonna do something called the Kali pose. I'm gonna give you an example of what the Kali pose is. Kali is an Indian deity known to destroy obstacles. I got these out of sequence, sorry. So I want you to look like Kali, okay? We're gonna be doing this together, okay? It's much like, well, you'll see. Take a couple of deep breaths before you do this, right? Okay. Nice deep belly breath, ready? Make a noise. Shake it all out. Just don't say that what's shaking thing, okay? Okay, so shake it all out. And I want you to do another Kali face for me, okay? Like, be really crazy this time. Are you ready? How crazy can we be? Ready? The destroyer of obstacles. And now that you look totally crazy, I want you to turn to the person to your right, introduce yourself, and say hello.
Nice to meet you.
Just turn to the person to your right, and if the person right's looking away, turn to the person to your left. Hello, Kali. Your obstacles have been destroyed. Okay, now one more deep breathing exercise. You can do this seated or standing, up to you. Put your hand over your belly. And you know how when people sing falsetto, they're up here like, you don't have to be rich to be my girl. So you're up here, right? Like Britney Spears. Oh my God, I did it again. I broke your heart. No, you didn't, Britney. But you sound silly. So we're going to go down into the belly, okay? So think like Nina Simone. All right, think like Erica Button. I'm getting tired of your. So you're going down. Feel it. Okay, I want you to breathe that way. Are you with me? So breathe into the belly. I want you to feel your belly distending. Don't hold it in like those swimsuit models. Feel that belly expanding and contracting. This is where you want to live. In the belly. And as we've just heard from these wonderful speakers, the gut is the second brain, and the gut matters. And there is indeed a gut-brain connection. So remembering that, breathe into that belly and feel that. One more Holly face. You ready? All right, now you can resume. Soldiers. So, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back too. For not peeing your pants, for having shoes that match, and they look tied, and everyone's got their shoes tied. This is miraculous. Some of you, I mean, we've combed our hair, we've brushed our teeth, and you got here. This is going to keep you from being isolated. Continue. When the waves are coming close together, continue to stay connected. Don't go in your cave and say, I'm not worthy of these interactions and these social things. When people invite you, go. You don't have to apologize for how you show up. Come as you are. And give everybody else the opportunity to do that too. This is a teacher of compassion. So, here we go. I got asked to speak in Denver one time. And I knew that I was having a lot of off periods, and I was very nervous about traveling alone. And because I was nervous about traveling alone, I took some extra pills, and they were not hitting. In fact, if anything, they made me a little dyskinetic. So I went down in one of the lines. I just sat down. And as you know, the airport is a very sympathetic place. The people that work for the Federal Aviation and all that, the people that are scanning your items to make sure that you're not going to light your shoe on fire, they took 45 minutes to get me in a wheelchair. That really hurt. And I was mocked the whole time. The woman kept saying, I know you're faking it. Just like many of us who have a handicap placard, and maybe when we're having it on time, we still use it because we're freezing or something that doesn't show. We all have these invisible illnesses and challenges. So anyway, I'm in the Denver airport, I'm sitting there. I missed my flight. To say that I was upset about that is an understatement because then I had to stay there. Luckily, I have friends there, and it ended up being a very joyful occasion. And this is just it. No matter what we plan, it gets changed. Who said that life is what happens while we're making all our plans? This is true beyond any neurologic condition. We've got to give ourselves a break. And we also have to learn to accept one another and just listen actively. On the way in here, I was delighted to hear some stories. Some really funny stories. Like the story that I heard from a couple where they were at dinner. It was probably a really nice date night. And the husband was having trouble walking, so as they walked in, they decided that they were going to get to their table really fast, and as he walked, he couldn't walk anymore, so they sat down at a table that was occupied. And the people understandably said, well, hello. And the wife kind of came over and said, I'm so sorry, he's just having a little trouble with Parkinson's. It turns out, those people, one of them, their father had Parkinson's. And therefore, there was this great discussion about that. These are the moments we must cherish. These are the beautiful moments of synchronicity that we must love. I bet you every one of you has a story like that, where you thought, this is going terribly wrong. Kind of like that movie called Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. I know y'all love your goop, y'all love your Gwyneth Paltrow, don't lie. Just kidding, just kidding. So it's a split screen, and in one half of the screen you're seeing the character having a terrible time. You're thinking, oh, woe is her, this poor woman, her life's going terribly. In the other half of the screen, the woman's having a great time. So you're thinking, that's a life, this woman's gonna be great. That's not always how it works out. Just stay in the moment, listen, connect. Those things are going to pull you through every time. It's an exchange. So, there was a time when I didn't believe that joy was going to get me through. So, this joy, what is it that brings you joy? Opening does. Well, dating doesn't. We're going to get back to that. I'm going to save that for last because I just can't believe that. So on the right, this is my family. I'm no longer married to the man on the right. We get on great now. Hey Eddie, how's your dirty house? Mine's clean. So anyway, I love my ex-husband. Let me be clear, he's a great dad. I'm just kidding. But I couldn't move. About an hour before this, I couldn't move. And my son was there in his final football game of his high school career, holding a rose. And he was so far away. And the entire football stadium seemed to freeze in that moment. And there I was, Heather, you have to walk. Your son is holding a rose. You have to do this. And I had dystonia, my left foot was curved, and I couldn't move. And I was almost going to get hysterical. But I took a breath, and I remembered every single person that I have met. And you're doing it. You're doing it. You're ahead of me on the path, many of you. If you can do it, you've given me strength. So I looked at my son and I said, I'm going to do this. And at that moment, my ex-husband and my daughter appeared at my side right here in case I needed them. And we walked and I accepted that rose together. So push yourself a little bit past what you think you can do always. I implore you, because those are the sacred moments. It does take a village, by the way. I'm not here because I got here alone. I had a lot of people helping me, including women who sent my PowerPoint just last night because it wouldn't send. So that's how it works, right? I did a little short film with a guy called Anders, and that brought me joy too, but it's a depressing film. These are my brothers here, they're goofy. They bring me a lot of joy. So this is the film that I did with Anders. It's called A Mountain at My Gate. And this film is about depression and anxiety that we encounter. And we filmed this just a month after my father died in my arms. My father had Alzheimer's. His name was Larry. Larry was a great guy. I dare say he acted sometimes like Mr. Rogers, and he'd always say, look for the helpful people. And it was a long, slow goodbye. As you know, what a cruel condition. There's always something to take us down. So I made this film with Anders to show that there is a dark side. It's not all fun and games and making fun. At the World Parkinson's Congress when I spoke, someone stood up and actually asked me, why do you always make fun of Parkinson's? And I said, if we're not laughing, we're crying. And there is much joy. There is much expansion. Our hearts are full. Look at all the new friends we have. If I had to get a degenerative brain disease to meet Anders, so be it. It was worth it. And we need to be honest about the vulnerability of our condition. We are all vulnerable, and therein lies our strength. Back to come as you are. Compassion is going to be the answer. It's kind of like the Japanese pottery. The cracks make it more beautiful sometimes. So I have this great gratitude. Leonard Cohen said that the cracks are where the light gets in. So let it come and let it make you stronger. It's gonna make you better. Every one of us has something. There's a Buddhist story you might enjoy. A woman had lost her child. And she was in great despair. And she went to the Buddha and she said, help me revive this, help me get him back. What can I do? Help me to get through this. And the Buddha looks at her and he says, okay, bring me a handful of white mustard seed from the first house you see that has never experienced grief. We know how that story ends. But this grief can also be your joy. This grief is going to give you the compassion to open for yourself and others. This grief is going to give you gratitude. Here I am with my friend Kathy, who did 3 marathons while going through radiation and then chemo. 3. And she went to 7 concerts. She's really big on the Killers, whatever. And I remember looking at her thinking, how can anybody do this? There's always someone to inspire you. There was a woman who had lost 2 legs and 1 arm at the WPC, the World Parkinson's Congress, as a keynote speaker. Then, when her husband-to-be, she was only engaged when this happened, came into her room in the hospital, she said, I get it. You know, you're free to go. I know you don't want me anymore. He looked at her and he said, honey, I want you even more now. We're going to be the backpack. I'm going to carry you. And this is what Ram Dass says. We're all just walking each other home. Now, before I, get too dark, let me just talk a little bit about this, though, because this is kind of important back here. Sorry these are out of order. I'm not really organized. Parkinson's. Here we go. I was looking good. I'm in this great outfit, okay? I'm looking fantastic. And like Kevin Kwok says in his great speech for the Davis Finney Foundation, I was wearing button flies. Because button flies and things with buttons and special clasps, are my final act of right, just indignant. I'm gonna do this because I can do all this stuff with Parkinson's that, I'm gonna have shoes with ties and zippers. I'm gonna have socks that say, I have to pee again. Anyway, I go on this date with this really good-looking surfer. Wow. And I'm a little nervous, and I'm late. We get to the concert, we have a great concert, but the concert doesn't really have a bathroom that works, and the line is out the door, and you know that if you get into a bathroom at a place like that, someone's gonna be pounding on the door the second you get in there. That's what happens. I wait to go to the bathroom. That wasn't such a good idea. So I'm thinking we're gonna have this fabulous night, we're gonna hang out afterwards, maybe, even I might even get a kiss. That's not what happened. We get to the BART station, and I don't know if you've ever been at the Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's kind of like any of the subways here. You get there, the doors are locked, there's no bathroom. So I'm pounding on the door, the bathroom's locked, and I realize I have to go now. I run out into the parking lot, I find a little bush. I hide behind this paltry bush, and I'm going. And at that exact moment, every single light of every single car turns on because they all came out of the bar at the same time I did. So now, not only am I peeing with my pants down for my new date that I'm trying to impress, every car light is highlighting the experience, and people are starting to pull out their phones. It's a good thing I'm not famous. And you'll never see me running for office, because that pee video is going to go viral. Someone has something on me, And if it's one of you, we need to talk, come see me after. So my dating is going really well. And not only that, but sometimes I feel like I'm up against the lion. The lion's not my date. The lion's Parkinson's. You gotta bring the lion along with you. The lion's gonna be cranky. We've kind of earned the right to be curmudgeonly and cranky in all this. What else are we gonna do? So I also wanna ask, if anybody had trouble getting here today, I just wanna see a show of hands. Did anyone have any trouble getting here for any reason? Did you have any trouble getting dressed? Did you have any trouble finding your glasses? Maybe finding your keys? Just a show of hands. Any trouble whatsoever? Or was it super smooth and everything went right as planned? And you got here early and looking fabulous as you do? Oh wow, we've got a lot of people who got lucky today. So what do you do when it doesn't go to plan? That's the question, because the lion is coming along with you. How do we tame this lion? We find the eye of this storm to be overwhelming. And of course, this monster is really us. It's us against us after a while. So, one more question for you. When you were diagnosed, what was the first thing that crossed your mind? I want you to be there for a moment. Is it how you feel about Parkinson's now? All these things that make us mad and crazy? Is it the same way that you thought about Parkinson's before? Or have you gotten a PhD in Parkinson's just to survive it? Right? We're all these PhDs. We have to stay connected. The isolation will kill us. So just to finish up here, I want to invite you to stay connected in the Parkinson's community. This means going online. Facebook has 7,000 support groups that have something to do with neurology. 7,000 to choose from. Within that 7,000, approximately give or take, there are so many for Parkinson's. And I have met people from all over the world, all walks of life. And these people are doing incredible things. And you can do incredible things. Each one of you has something to contribute. Don't you think that you do not? Omatola Thomas has gone into African countries where they still believe that it's witchcraft that's going to cure Parkinson's. They think you need an exorcism. And she's making it work. She's making changes, huge strides. These are people in local support groups here. And there's Vicki Dillon. She was one of the people from the first GDNF trial who opened up her brain and dedicated it to science and let them do an experiment on her brain so that we could then advance our therapies. She's in the middle on the bottom there, next to Shelbo. These are people who are making changes, and we are standing on the shoulders of these giants. And we can be each other's giants. So I'm going to go back to that one thing over and over again. This radical acceptance. Because you'll always find the surface. And remember, now is all we have. So let's find our joy right now with each other. Thank you for having me.
Okay.